Today, we're talking houses and if you should sell yours on your own. Now, if you don't already know me, my name is Zach Satin. I'm a local real estate agent here in South Florida, providing you with the best info in the real estate game. And if you haven't already, go ahead and slam that subscribe button and ring that bell to get notified when I put out a new video every single week. First, let's start with the pros. Now, the first pro, and I'm sure you already saw this coming, is that you could possibly make more money. I mean, you're not paying a realtor in the end, which could be saving you thousands in commission. Another pro when you're selling on your own is that really you are in complete control. What I mean by that is that you don't need to listen to anyone's opinion on price, marketing, how you list it, how you prepare to list it, how you'll negotiate it, etc. That's all in your control. Another thing when you sell on your own is that the house will have your full attention. When you use a realtor, they could have other clients that they need to tend to, and they might not be able to put 110% of their time into selling your home. Although if you're using a good agent, they would probably put plenty of time into selling your home because that's how they get paid. A really big thing that homeowners miss when they put their house for sale by owner is that they think they can't use the MLS. Really, you can't, but there are flat fee services that allow you to put your home on the MLS, just like the realtors do. Usually you'd be paying around 1% or maybe less, depending on what service you use, but this is just one way to get your house broadcasted to a lot of different agents and just to different people. Finally, the last pro to selling on your own is that you offer a homeowner's perspective. You've lived in that home for who knows how long, and you know things that the buyers might want to know about that the realtor can't get to them as soon as you could. This pretty much allows you to get straight to the point with the pros of your home to these buyers. Now on to the cons of selling your own home. And while I know I said that there's only 5 pros and cons, I really have like about 10 cons plus 1 extra con. So make sure you watch all the way to the end to learn all of those. Con number 1 about selling your own home is that it's basically a part-time job. You need to be ready at all times to pick up the phone, schedule showings, be able to let buyers in at any time. And this can really be a problem, especially if you work a full-time job where, especially if it's one where you're not allowed to be on your phone. If you don't really have the flexibility to work on these problems, you might find it really difficult to sell on your own. After all, we need to keep in mind that real estate agents in the end are a service, and people that pay for services are people who don't have time to service those things themselves, like painting, mowing your lawn, etc. When you're too busy to do those things, you service it out and have somebody else do it who's a professional at it. Same thing with real estate agents. Con number 2 is your ability to screen your buyers. When you're using a realtor, you already know that whoever's coming to look at your home is well qualified and ready to buy a home and actually wants to buy a home. However, what about when you're selling your own home? Random quote-unquote buyers could just ask to come look at your home and not even have to tell you they're qualified or show anything for it and just act like they are. They could write some random thing up. There's no really big confirmation here to confirm that these are real buyers looking to really buy a home. In fact, for sale by owners is actually a bigger target for thieves to come and steal stuff from your home because it's so much easier to trick somebody who's eager to sell their home. And to go right along with con number 2, con number 3 is about lowball offers and bargain buyers. As we already discussed, selling on your own does not really provide you the best of the best in terms of buyers that are coming to look at your home. So what you will see a lot of is these bargain buyers who want to get your home for as low as possible. If you don't have the time to probably negotiate, they will kind of just lowball and throw whatever at you until you take the lowest offer that they can get. And this, can get very annoying if you list your home even for a decent price and you see people that want to give you $100,000 less. I'm sure it's very aggravating to see and annoying to go through that. Con number 4 is that selling a house on your own requires a lot of patience. It's like diving into a sea of buyers and hoping that you pull out the right one. It can take months, maybe longer, depending how well you've treated it, how well you priced it, how well you've been marketing it. All of these things vary in how quickly your house will sell and how much it will sell for. On top of the patience required to deal with the back and forth negotiations that realtors would normally handle, you could end up with a very, very big headache. And con number 5 is even worse, which is the stressful transactions. Let's say you finally get done with those back and forth negotiations, you're finally under contract and you think, oh my gosh, this headache's finally over. But really, that was only the first step. Now that you're actually under contract, you need to deal with inspections, appraisals, hoping that the buyer is actually qualified enough to get their loan committed to, which is another big problem. And in the middle of all this, your contract could fall under out of nowhere for some random reason and you'd be back to square one. Con number 6, surprisingly, is that you could lose friends. A lot of times when somebody's selling their house on their own, it's because they already know somebody who wants to buy the house. So you could say, like, maybe your friend wants to buy your house, so you decide you're going to sell it to them and skip the part of using realtor. Well, yes, this could be a great thing for you and your friend. It could really ruin your friendship just as easy. Because like we talked about before, you still need to go through those stressful transactions and that back and forth negotiations that just cause you huge headache. And enough bickering and arguing with you and your friends could cause them to just not want to be friends anymore. And you could lose a friend that way and maybe not even get your house sold in the end, which is just terrible for both parties. Con number 7 is that you really don't want to mess up on the legal stuff. Before you even think about putting your house on the market, make sure that you have everything you need from a legal standpoint to make sure your house gets sold properly. Make sure you get all your documents done and in order, especially your disclosures. A lot of sellers forget that they need to disclose everything about their property that they know, and they really miss out on that, and it can really come and bite them in the later. Con number 8 is pricing. I know you expected to hear it eventually, so here it is. As great as it would be to just throw your house on the market for whatever price you want, that's really just not how it works. You need to make sure your home is accurately priced which is a big problem for a lot of homeowners, even when they use realtors. They end up overpricing their home, and it will end up sitting on the market long enough for lowball offers to start coming in and piling up, and that's all you end up having. Make sure that the price you want for your house is actually the price you can actually get. Con number 9, marketing. Marketing is not that easy, and most homeowners, they just expect these realtors to throw their house up on the MLS and get it sold that way. Which, yeah, some realtors that don't know what they're doing might do that, but a real, actual good agent is not just going to do that. If it really was that easy, I would be saving a lot of money on my marketing. I need to really put in the time to push that listing into people's faces over and over and over again to so many different faces until somebody wants to buy it. Depending on your schedule, you might not even have time for that. Con number 10, you're not saving as much as you think. Number one reason that sellers most likely don't want to use a realtor is because they want to skip out on paying that commission, which most of the time is around 6% of the sales price. Here's the problem. For starters, half of that commission has to go to the buyer's agent. So any buyer agent that brings you a buyer is going to still want that 3% because they still need to get paid for bringing you this buyer. And you might be thinking, well, at least I saved 3%, but really you're not. One, if you wanted to pay somebody that 1% to get it put on the MLS, which in the first place, if you wanted to get sent to agents for that 3%, you got to pay them. You probably are going to pay the 1%, so now you're at 4%. So now you're only saving 2%, but there's marketing costs. You're going to want to pay for professional pictures plus any other marketing you're going to want to do. Not to mention the time you need to put in to answer phone calls, do showings, screen buyers. Is it really worth it? Talking negotiations, let's also talk about the fact that most homeowners that sell the house on their own are going to get lowball offers. They end up making less money than they would if they just used a realtor in the first place. So let's say you spend a good amount of money on marketing and pictures and everything, and now you're saving about 1%. 1% is still not bad, but it's going to becoming one of those homeowners, which is a really big amount, that gets taken advantage and lowballed on their offer and end up making way less money than they could. You might find yourself saving 0% on that home if you had just used a realtor. And you would have wasted a lot of your time doing all these things like negotiations and screening the buyers and handling showings and letting people in. All of these things just to save 0%, then you could have just used an agent and paid them to do everything. And just that quick extra con you've been waiting for. Homeowner sales have a very, very low success rate. Over 90% of the people that try to sell their home on their own end up quitting and actually hiring a realtor instead because they realize how difficult it actually is. So before you think something is super easy, make sure you really look into it and do your research to make sure it's something you can actually handle. And by all means, I feel free to you doing it. Like, you should try and do it. And if you can do it, great. But also make sure that, is it really worth it for you? If it is, then okay, try it. And if it doesn't work out, then yeah, call me. I want to emphasize that this video isn't really meant to insult anybody looking to sell their house on their own. To be as informational as possible in the hopes that you really learn something from this. After watching this video, you have decided to take the realtor route, I would be really happy to help you with that. You can feel free to DM me here or here, and I'd be happy to help with that or any other additional questions you might have. Thanks for watching. See ya.